Welcome back, Elden Ring fans, to another video. In today's video, we have my Gloam Queen build. This build has taken me a bit of time to actually perfect, due to it being a mix between dexterity and faith. Now, I've balanced the build pretty well, and it's kind of unbalanced when it comes to its damage. You'll see here in a moment, when I decide to fight an enemy, it just gets absolutely demolished thanks to the Ash of War on the Godslayer's Greatsword, and it absolutely blasts. This build is fun to use. It has a lot of variabilities to be able to use things like lightning. It has just enough faith that we can use sacred and fire art weapons, and we kind of have a very large quantity of abilities here. We're able to buff ourselves with Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow. You know that I like those if you've watched my other builds, and we're able to just tear apart enemies. The amount of damage that we do is absolutely sickening. That is what I would expect from the Gloam Queen, with her being such a deadly threat, and we have still yet to see her. So obviously I'm wearing the Traveler's Garb, and that is due to Melina possibly being the Gloam Queen and hinted to in the Madness ending. So what is this build? How do we actually create this build? Well, this is a 150. I always do 150s thanks to it being at meta level, and I do have some fire incantations due to that the burning of Melina later in the game whenever you progress to the mountaintop of the giants. I do have black flame spells. I'm not a huge fan of one of them, so I actually didn't use it, but we do have 50 dexterity because this sword scales with dex extremely well. We have 50 vigor, which I know a lot of people are not kind on, but you know what, I would rather wear the talisman to increase my health, which basically gives you 10 levels, so you basically have 60, or I can choose to go ahead the damage route, which is what I did earlier. So this build has a lot of variety. We have that 35 faith, just enough to give us to use most of the madness spells. We have the Godslayer's, the casting material for it. We have a different type of a different type of fashion, and it is my black fire monk garb, the main chest piece, with the fire prelate leggings and gauntlets, and then you can of course wear something like the little carapace or some sort of the bandit's mask, something that doesn't cover up the eyes of the Gloam Queen, because you want to show those gloaming eyes. And it took a lot of time and a lot of balancing with the character creator to actually get this to work, where my eyes are two different colors, and the purplish blue of the eye was extremely hard to make, while also having the faint white of the other eye not glowing too brightly that it completely overclouds the other. So it took a lot of time and effort to make it, but there are many different styles you can do with this. You have just enough endurance to wear any big boy armor you really want to, and then anytime you really want to show off that you're the Gloam Queen, you can just whip it out, and you can. So like I said, these are the stats. The Blade of Calling is an extremely good dagger for this build, hence it's the Gloam Queen / Melina build, and I absolutely had fun making this build. Of course, I have many other builds on my channel, so if you guys want to check them out, go ahead, please. I implore you to check out the Fundamentalist build that I made, and it is an extremely overpowered build, but it also has to do with Mikola for the DLC, and there's a lot of reasons on why you may want to use that going into the DLC. But this build was a lot of fun. It's one of the things that I want more of what FromSoft needs to do with the build, since it's more of a faith dexterity, because Dex doesn't have a lot. Dex has lightning, which is great, but Dex doesn't have anything like bestial incantations, which would be very nice for the DLC to add, because with bestial incantations they scale with strength and with faith. We don't have anything that really scales with Dex and faith, but with this weapon, the Godslayer Greatsword, which is the main key ingredient to absolutely destroying these bosses, doing stupid damage with it, it's absolutely destructive. I mean, Malekith didn't stand really that much of a chance when I first fought him, but as many of you might know, with a lot of my builds, that always is the case. We're always seeing me 1 or 2 tap bosses. I like a lot of variety with my builds. Like I said, you can use lightning damage. You can use sacred. I have Blessings Boon because I have a little lower faith than normal, when it comes down to it, but because Melina's not really an entirely faith-based character, she's more so into the dexterity and faith, with this build at least. We have where I'm able to use Sacred. I'm able to use Fire Art. I can use the Blasphemous Blade if I wanted to, but, you know, that's not the point of the build. So I'm leaning straight up into making the Godslayer Greatsword do the most damage I possibly can. And like I said, it's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. This is one of the top tier builds that kind of shines with certain weapons and distinct. You know, I was having a lot more fun. People were summoning me back and forth. They were also getting out their Godslayer stuff, and it was a blast. It was crazy. I mean, the amount of damage you can do with one singular spell is a little ridiculous, and that's something I can't wait to see and hopefully get to see more of in the DLC, so I can make some update videos on my character creations, on my builds. And like I said, I recommend you go into the DLC at 150 because you'll have a lot more people to be able to play with, and it will just be a sick experience. So if you like build videos like this and you like things alongside of making new builds, making character lookalikes and stuff like that, please follow my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody.